So, can you hear the footsteps of Mashiach? And if you can't, why can you not? Should we try and block the sun a little bit here? Maybe that's it. Better. If you can't hear it, why can't you? The Rebbe says that the footsteps of Mashiach can be heard. Good morning. Why can't we hear them? So I wrote a poem that was just an inspired moment, okay? I hope it resonates with you. Piercing call, felt on her heels, the sound of taps. I'm always remarking about that's so weird that when I walk through the hall, it's clickety-click. But it reminds me of a soldier, the way a soldier makes a sound when he's doing taps, or whatever they call it, you know, when they're lining up. When they're doing it ceremonially, what would they be on a marble floor in a ceremony, right? When Mashiach comes, you're not going to have a military parade. If the Nazis got it, Yimach Shemam V'zichram. Rabbi Akiva says how much more so God's children are going to really celebrate with God. You know, the story of the Tisha B'Av has a flip side to it. It talks about what they came from, what kind of glory they had. It speaks about, in Tisha B'Av and Kinnis and all that, it speaks about a lady who was so wealthy that she had the red carpet treatment wherever she went, never used twice the same carpet. But she didn't really walk anywhere, right? She didn't even go to she never went to the market before. Is that the same person? So there's a piercing call that's happening. But if you don't have the sensitivity and you're a heel, right? The most insensitive part of your body is a heel. But do you feel that? Are you sensitive? Is it felt on your heels? Is it felt like the fabric felt? Can you feel that on your heels, the most insensitive part? If that's the piercing call, we have to tune in to that. You're not going to feel it while walking down the street like a soldier. But what are we listening for? There's two sides here. Mashiach is peeking through between the cracks, right? To see. He looks into the darkness of exile and the light shining in from outside from his face. Peering in, gazing in with this piercing call that we have our eye whatever is playing too loud music. We can't hear it. Do we notice that Mashiach's looking in, waiting for us to be ready? The Rebbe said we have to be ready for Mashiach. I'm telling you what that means. Nobody else has a plan for it, okay? I'm telling you what it means. If you don't know, listen to from day one. I'll just give you, should I give a brief synopsis? Feel outraged because now is the time for Mashiach. Use that outreach not just to be a call, use it, that power to change your life and make your whole life that call. That's what the call is to do. The outrage has to be inward, to change ourselves, to make ourselves ready and worthy of Mashiach now within our personal life. It means we have to develop a sensitivity like felt on your heels. Okay, it's the same word. But we're hearing the sound of taps because Mashiach, when Mashiach comes, he's going to be in splendor. But that reminds me of my topic of today. Because how are we going to, in the ultimate stage, if Chas v'Shalom, we don't merit to be alive in the moment when Mashiach is revealed, how are we going to participate in Mashiach? It's going to be Tchias HaMesim, the resurrection of the dead. So I have a source today, drawn from today's HaYom Yom, which is so awesome, and I have some background leading up to today's HaYom Yom that I want to get to. But it quotes there's something incredible, and I want to see the connection. I want to explore the connection that he brings to the dry bones that went together in Yechezkel and Ezekiel's prophecy about the dry bones coming together, clickety-click, like the sound of taps. The sound is significant there. I made a source sheet. I forgot to post it. I could probably post it right now online, but I just don't want to even take a moment away from you. But you know what? It's getting hard not to bring technology into this. It's getting hard. It's a new platform for me. I remember my first thing on Purim when I just started streaming. I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, it invited me. It said invite Rabbi Bankhalter. So I said, yeah, I'm going to invite Rabbi Bankhalter. And I clicked it and I'm like, what the heck is that? It just was distracting. So now I've got a new iPad, right? And I'm trying to learn the ropes So, okay, I have this, okay, I got Yehezkel, okay? I don't remember exactly what I was looking for, but I got the prophecy in Yehezkel. Okay, but I first wanted to do the HaYom Yom. Okay, sorry guys. So, this was a letter written to someone named Reb Schneer Zalman Schneerson, from Paris, from Paris, okay? For the French out there. This is an encouragement for the Frierdiker Rebbe gave for someone called Schneerson, Schneer Zalman Schneerson, from Paris, that he should continue speaking publicly. It's an awesome thing. Okay, so this is the background to today's HaYom Yom. You can look at, oh, I wanted to post that page. Okay. I'm on the page. How do I post this? Oh my goodness, I know how to do it. I'm going to post this page to you right now as we speak. If everything works, let's copy. Oh my goodness, it's just, it's not at my fingertips yet. I just totally new. Never had an iPad before, sorry. In the months of summer, they are the months of rest. And on them you need to prepare yourself a mazon haruchni, a spiritual sustenance. Hadarish liyamim abalim l'kresein l'chaim l'sholim. That's required for the time we're in. May it come with good tidings and peace and good life. And gives blessings for physical and spiritual things. Because from the half month of Elul that they're looking forward to, when he really he's saying that everyone has to come back from their vacations and start making forbringings to get ready for the high holidays, right? Make forbringings to arouse people for the whole concept of serving God. And to do whatever they're capable of doing with the resources at their fingertips in order to be inspired to keep Torah mitzvahs. Okay? That's what the Frierdiker Rebbe, the previous Lubavitch Rebbe, was telling this chassid in Paris. He's telling him, you got to make forbringings and help people be inspired to face Rosh Hashanah because they're coming out of vacation time. Okay, we're still in the height of it, right? But let's just know it's around the corner. And HaYom Yom and Chafes Tammuz wants us to know this information. Kfar Hiskel Yedidi, Shar Bisari, Sher Bisari. He's giving him beautiful terms of affection. L'naya lifnei chabura. You started speaking publicly. Le'ezkar b'pratis, avol hineni zeiches hareshim atev. I'm not going to mention details, but I want to mention the general impression that you left by doing that. Because it's clear to me that every speech you make makes a great impact before the eyes of the whole idea of strengthening the religion, the true religion of Judaism. According to the ways of the place, even something very small is very important, which is what I'm speaking about in that poem. Okay, the idea of being sensitive to the calling. It may be a piercing call, but if you're got the volume up on something else, you don't hear it, you're gonna miss out. You're gonna miss out. You have to tune in. That's what I'm trying. Oh, I was telling you about my whole process. So the whole idea is to perfect yourself and make the outrage taken inwardly to change yourself. Okay, so now I'm talking. I like to speak about health, but health to me also includes mindset, which means the way you look at your life, the way you interpret circumstance, experience, memories, even trauma, whatever shtiyot we have, how you interpret that and how you bring something good out from that. Okay, that's what my focus is, and I'm explaining now. Most recently, I'm starting to see that this has to be a specifically guided path by people who are doing it themselves. They're not perfect. They make mistakes, yes, but people that are actually trying to live with what the Rebbe says and perfect themselves, like the incredible times we're in. The Rebbe says that it's going to start with individuals. That's when Mashiach is going to be revealed first. The spark of Mashiach in each person is going to blossom forth in every single person. That is a promise of the Rebbe. Okay, there's topics in the Torah today that we're going to speak about that are fantastical. So it is some interpretations say that it's a mashal, but at both levels it resonates, even if it's not meant realistically, which I believe it is going to happen in actuality. The resurrection of the dead I'm talking about in particular here, I think it's meant in the simple sense. That's the sheet of Ramban, and that's the sheet of Chassidus, Chabad in particular. So I believe it in the simple sense, but it doesn't mean that you're like completely outside the pale. I don't think if you believe it's metaphorical, because there's sources in Torah. So you please take out, if you're reluctant to subscribe to the real meaning of the resurrection of the dead, if you're reluctant to that. And I gave a way out anyways, because the Rebbe said you can be, through humility, you don't actually have to die. But then it doesn't explain for those who already died. They obviously have to have resurrection of the dead. It's part of the 13 pillars of our faith, isn't it? So he's encouraging him, and listen to what he says. This is incredible. So he inspires everybody, right? And he's making them sensitive. The Frierdiker Rebbe says here. And the Rebbe is encouraging him to realize how precious every detail is. Even though he's giving him a general idea of what he's heard, okay? That when he's talking about yourself, you don't tell a whole person's praise in front of them, right? But when he's talking about the importance of his mission, he doesn't hold back. You have to be sensitive to know the preciousness of each detail of your mission. To enliven the dry bones, first, you have to gather them. I always speak about the importance of achdus. Before you daven, you can't approach God if you don't have achdus. Achdus with other people and achdus within yourself. Integrity in your own life, in your own personality. What do they call it? If you sense inside a person, diversion, what do they call that? I forget the term. Okay, but he says to gather the bones first in order to resurrect the dead. Okay, people are walking dead. It's very sad. The zombie phenomenon was a real phenomenon. I don't know if it's so popular anymore. But that was a real thing. Something about the idea of a zombie transfixes people. Because they're terrified of identifying with the zombie. Just saying, I'm not really alive. When people are told that, they get very hurt. They're very vulnerable and sensitive to that. So, I think that it's important to identify that sensitivity. That's where the importance lies, in those areas. Okay, that's my whole approach. I've spoken with that about 3 months ago, near the beginning. I don't know how long it's been. Purim, whatever Purim was. But Tchilas L'Katz, first you have to gather up the bones. V'lahalbisham er basar v'gidim, and then enclose it within something tangible. Dry bones don't feel. If you're going to feel the calling, right? If you're going to feel that, it takes sensitivity. You can't just be dry bones, walking dead. You've got to be... I want to speak a bit about how God's going to resurrect it with our illness. Okay, I don't want to forget to talk about that. I think that's important here, but I just want to finish this letter first. It's almost done. So you have to enclose it with skin, flesh, and sinews. And then afterwards, you breathe in it a spirit of life. There's a process to resurrect the dead, to wake up the zombie in us. There's a process. First, gather the bones, have achdus, recognize that every aspect there has to be a shleimus, be an adam. Then let that adam feel what it means to be an adam, not just bones, not just the foundation, the haidu, the maidani lefanecha, the foundation of the day, the bowing our skeleton. All our vertebrae are supposed to bow, else we become the snake. You have to make that's how you bow, like a snake. So we don't become a snake. We have to utilize every vertebrae. We have to be alive, not dry bones. To gather each vertebrae together and have that 18 vertebrae. Or is the lose bone making 19? The lose bone, that's how we're going to be resurrected in the dead through the etzem lose, it's called. A bone that's the smallest part of the vertebrae. I think it's at the tailbone, isn't it? Or is it at the top of the neck? Oh, someone help me with that. That's very important. There, I think it's the tailbone. Is that the lose bone? No, it's got to be the top vertebrae where we put the fill-in knots, right? Okay, why did I get mixed up there? I gotta look at that. That's because it's important to know that the top and the bottom of the tail, the head of the lion and the tail, each one is so significant. It's specifically in the extremes, obviously, where you find the most wisdom, because it's extreme. It's most clear. We have to be sensitive to the very clear calling of Mashiach now. We have to sensitize ourselves by turning off the garbage music around us in all senses of the word. So we have to breathe. So you have bones, the structure, the bowing. You have the flesh, the pleasure and highest vitality, the sinews that draw blood and vitality and life. To be alive, to draw that within our frame. And then the spirit of life emerges from that health. And until now, I didn't hear anything about you gathering the dry bones. What is the Friedrich Rebbe saying? You should have told him about gathering the dry bones? So that's the beginning. Good morning, Rabbi Merkur. Good morning, everybody. That is the beginning. That's the introduction to the segment of today's HaYom Yom. Okay, this is in a bit, it's in Yiddish, okay? So the Friedrich Rebbe says about his father, the Rebbe Rashab, Shmasei, and he says, Chassidische Wort macht klar de Kopf. Chassidische teaching purifies the heart and rein the hearts and makes the head clear and the heart pure. Okay? Chassidische teaching, that makes you pure. Chassidische Hanhaga Teva macht lichtig de Stub in Stub. A Chassidische custom or conduct, a good way to behave, makes the house illuminate. It makes it shine. It makes it bright. Lights up the house. To act in a Chassidic way. To be sensitive to people. Chassidic niggin, when you sing a niggin from your depths, have you ever done that before? When you're davening, break into a niggin. If you can. If you could break away from the precious words for a second. So when I sing a niggin, it's like when I'm adjusting my tefillin or something like that. We're like looking for, I don't know what. My sitter, I don't know. So that's when I'll sing a niggin. And then I might get it entranced in it. But what does a niggin do? Stark de tikva bitachlim. Bring simcha, stellt weg de Heis, mit der Heis gesinnt. It's beautiful words. Okay, the Yiddish is beautiful. I had to read it. I think I did an okay job reading it. Baruch Hashem. So, but what does a Chassidic niggin, a melody, a real inspired melody do? It strengthens the hope and the knowledge of your faith. Bitachon, right? How do you translate bitachon? You're just knowing that things are going to be good. And it brings joy. And it establishes the house, health, and rays of light. Have you heard more beautiful words today, at least? I think that is beautiful. Just beautiful words. Just beautiful words. So I have for you, I want to talk about the source quoted there. These dry bones. Okay, so I remember now that I wanted to set it off in comparison. We're going to look a little bit deep into this if we have time. It's still early, so if you're with me, I think we're going to go inside today for a little journey. Okay, I got a lot of sources. They're very little letters, so you have to bear with me. I know people are busy. I know that. I'm really sorry. If I'm going to do this kind of volume, it's not going to be memorized. So you got to bear with me and my poor little eyes. So in Yechezkel, it speaks about a glorious incredible story of people that wanted to push the Kates. They wanted out of Egypt, Ervas Haaretz. They wanted a life of meaning. But it actually criticizes them. The sages criticized this. They were people from Shevet Ephraim. Said, enough already, I'm getting out of here. So they said, Mashiach's here, we're leaving. Who's Mashiach? I don't know, I'm leaving. We're all Mashiach. Bye-bye. Okay? The time wasn't right? Korach had something, the time wasn't right. You have to have the timing right. They were pushing the timing, just like Korach. But here it says explicitly, so there's something very pronounced about their pushing the timing that made it very inappropriate. The timing is now, people. But understand the story to reflect on it. Oh, but first I wanted to preface it with the other idea. I keep forgetting. The other idea is you're going to wake with all your illnesses. If, God forbid, you're not alive to see Mashiach, but even so, we're going to have those illnesses. Even so, like Halavai, we shouldn't have to even die between, we should just experience Mashiach and have the same body we're going to have in Tchias HaMeisim, like the ones that are going to be resurrected, which, by the way, it says the righteous are going to be resurrected first, the very beginning stages. So right away, you're going to have Moshe, Aaron, everybody. All the big wigs are going to be here, right, in the beginning stages, Mashiach. Okay, so that is going to be a miracle that's going to really establish the throne of Mashiach. Because a throne has to have ministers, right? What kind of floor does he walk on? Marble, so he has taps. Okay, I don't know if I got that idea totally resonating with you yet. So we're walking on the felt, or he's trying to be sensitive, but we have a powerful king leading us. And he has powerful ministers. Even Moshe Rabbeinu is his minister. He's going to teach Moshe Rabbeinu the Avos Torah. And little children, everyone's equal before the infinite greatness of Mashiach, which is impossible to fathom. That's the Yechidah Nefesh. That's the essence of the soul revealed, embodied in a human being that sits on a throne to the glory of mankind. And can you imagine his body that's going, when resurrected? Okay, because even if Mashiach's not going to have to be resurrected, can you imagine the superhero? If you have to say that, which I don't. The Mashiach. Can you imagine? If you can imagine, like I'm trying to make myself to be a superhero in my pictures, right? Can you imagine what the reality is going to be? Infinitely greater, I promise you. So it tells a story in Yechezkel, a different story, not about, I explained in this talk, I want to get into detail right now, about what I think that means, that you're going to be resurrected with your illness. Because you have to see that God is the one that healed you. I spoke at length about it. Look that up. It's, I think, a very important message. You have to see that God's the one that's healing you, so you have a relationship with God, and he does everything important in your life. Takes you out of all your traumas. Hashem, help us. We have so much trauma. People are zombies because of trauma. I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying they're sheep. I'm saying they were been beaten up. Life's beaten up a lot of people. Really bad. Really, really, really bad. So the people that have held are their voice. We are their inspiration. That's the Frierdiker Rebbe telling this Rabbi Schneerson. Zalman Schneerson. He's encouraging you. I want a report of you gathering the dry bones, putting flesh on them, giving them life. No, make them ice zombie. Out from being a zombie and breathe spirit into their nostrils. Make them alive. You have the power through your words, through your whatever you do, whether you do art, whether you do music, whatever you do, that is your power to conquer this world at long last. What are people waiting for already? Forget about making $1 zillion. It doesn't matter. That will come. The billionaires will wake up. They're going to be providing. You don't have to work all day. Give me a break. It's for the ministers. The Sarim are going to be our craftsmen, I think it says, or our nurses. What does it say there, right? Look, I've quoted that before, but our craftsmen, Amay, they're going to be Amnayich. What does that mean? Your Amay, that doesn't mean your babysitters. They're going to watch our children, the kings and ministers of the world, non-Jewish ones, I mean, because they're going to be so honored to do so. Not as a punishment, God forbid. Anyone's going to be around deserves to be around. I'm with them. I'll high five every Gentile around. Why not? They're worthy to be in the unfolding of Mashiach. That's got to be a person that's worthy of my What did the Rebbe do? This amazing story about the postman. I think the Rebbe gave him a bright smile every morning. A bright smile. But for his chassid, he did that. He nodded. Chassid complained to him one time, his whole story. And the Rebbe said, to the Gentile, I recognize he's a holy creation of Hashem. I don't know if he used the word holy. It's God's handiwork. And craftsman, right? I see the craftsman of God in him. I smile at God's handiwork. It's beautiful. Look at the images of nature I'm putting on this beauty of God's handiwork. Okay? I love art. I don't need to go very far to get art. God has art everywhere. It's beautiful, the world. So the Rebbe smiles at him. I smile at the sunset. Beautiful things in the world. You smile at even by creatures when they act kind. I can post about when one creature giving kind to another chassidah. Right? What's like a hawk gives kindness to its young or something like that. Or to its species. Is it the hawk? A chassidah gives kindness, chassidish. It's a chassidish animal. It speaks about it in one of the HaYom Yoms. So the Rebbe smiles at the Gentile person that he encounters day by day, the mailman. But to the chassid, that's the subject of the Rebbe. He's lifting up his subject like a lion lifts up the tail. Be the tail of the Rebbe. You'll be lifted up over his head as his crown. I promise you that's true. At least care about what the Rebbe says to the world in any way that you get the Rebbe's teachings. At least care enough to be sensitive to it. That will make the calling be screaming in your ears. The piercing cry doesn't have to take a pin to pierce the flesh of our heel, our most insensitive part. We are pierced with felt, that we feel the calling. That's the taps, okay? Hear that in your own footsteps. Hear that in your own footsteps. She hears the taps approaching. Your neshama, right? Your neshama hears the taps. It's not a very loud sound, but in a silent room, what echoes the most when you're having a military ceremony or parade, when Mashiach himself is going to parade into. That is happening now. I'm telling you, I know it's happening now, but it's happening in a way that you don't like. It's happening through the teachings of Chassidus. It always was here, but people are now waking up to saying, I have to live with this. It has to be the spirit of my soul. Ruach HaChaim. That's what today's HaYom Yom. So in Yechezkel, it speaks about this whole story about how God takes him into a valley, and the valley takes Ezekiel into a valley, and he sees it's full with dry bones, right? The hand of the Lord came upon me. He took me out by the Spirit of the Lord and set me down in the valley. It was full of bones. He led me around them. There were very many. They were spread over the valley, and they were very dry, the dry bones, okay? That's like the famous expression. He said to me, O mortal, can these bones live again? I replied, O Lord, only you know. Here, the Meforshim tell you something important. Malbim, I think, in particular. He says there's two qualifications that make normal Chiyas HaMesim. There's two qualifications. They have to be gathered. The bones have to be gathered, like the Friedrich Rebbe said. And they have to have rotted. What does that mean? That's all the opposites. Okay, let me just find them inside. If I could just find that would be really good. I think I have a footnote here. Okay, this must be it now. Oh, this is another amazing thing. Oh, I want to get to that next. And another amazing thing about Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. Oh. Sorry, one more second. I'll give it a chance to find them. Okay, here's the It's a Malbim that quotes these words. It's not the one I think I was looking for, because he says it earlier, the two conditions. But here he references the fact that they're conditions. He says, he said to me, mortal, will these bones be enlivened? Certainly Yechezkel believed in it. That's not what God's asking him. It's understood, he had a tradition, that the resurrection is going to be through the complete decomposition of the entire body, when the bones themselves turn to dust. And through the spirit of life that remains in the bones. Maybe it means here the decomposed bones when they become part of the earth. It speaks about it later. I got lots of sources that speak about that. It's an incredible idea. But then it's strange, the gathering, I guess it's the gathering of the dust. So we'll see what that means. Well, if we get a chance to get, I'm getting textings coming in, that's annoying. Okay, so God is telling him, I know that you understand that Tchias HaMesim is usually with complete dust, when it becomes one with the earth, and it comes forth from the earth like a seed. We spoke about the decomposition of a seed. It has to happen prior to the plant to sprout forth. So here it's talking about the sprouting forth like a real birth. I have sources that say it's going to be born of the earth. It sounds a little bit like a petri dish. Really it does, because it quotes verses about milk. Okay, I have verses, I have a source sheet that I couldn't post online yet. I'll do it after this year. Or maybe I'll read them at least here with you in a minute, because they're incredibly suggestive or resonate with the idea of technology. DNA, it really, really resonates, okay? So that, for people who are just like living in this world, those ideas are really make the Torah see something. You just can see the path blazed, even now according to the laws of nature. If it didn't require so many overt miracles that you cannot have a scientific explanation for. Of course, science can't even understand the essence of nature. I know that. That's why God tells him, Yechezkel, I know you know that there has to be certain conditions, that it has to be completely dissolved in the earth. Because he had certain conditions that he understood, that that's what Tchias HaMesim is all about. Okay, there's two conditions. Here they are, I found them. Okay, that was a good introduction anyways, that worked out well. Okay, but I want to back up a bit because these are beautiful words. I want to try and hold the book a little bit more in front of you. Okay. Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Talking about the Se'er Be'isa. It's going to be like the yeast of dough. The resurrection of the dead. Okay, I'm going to start from the beginning of this album. It's not too long. If it gets too hard or whatever, I'll skip forward. We know the sages debated whether this was meant as an allegory or it's literally talking about the enlivenment of the dead. I think the halacha is, as I said, okay, whatever. Even if this is an allegory, let's understand it. What does it teach us? The Torah has to resonate at all levels. So let's just say we're not going to deal with the literal level now. What's it teaching us? Mashira. Okay, my air conditioning just went off. And it's stifling. We're going to open ourselves to the sound waves of the universe. Hello, everybody. This kid's cycling by. So is it meant as an allegory, or what does that allegory mean? Mashira, chezehu ki'ilu nase b'peil. What Yechezkel saw was certainly appeared like it happened in actuality. These souls, these bones gathered together. But this is a not normal type of Tchias HaMesim. He's going to show how it's different, and that's what God was telling him, that this is an unusual, an atypical type of a resurrection, where it happened by wind blowing bones together and sinews developing and surrounding and muscle and flesh, and then the spirit of life, as it's described by the Frierdiker Rebbe there in that HaYom Yom, today's HaYom Yom, which tells you to be a public speaker. It's awesome. To gather the dry bones together, to create achdus. But in Yechezkel, the dry bones, it's a different situation. That's the whole point I'm just realizing. That there you have the whole bones. You could do it before there has to be a Tchesa Mason. You could do it now. That's what the Frierdiker Rebbe is telling you. Inspire people to live that way now, when the bones are still fresh. They're dry bones, yes, but they're still bones. They're not dissolved completely. Gather those bones together, and guess what? You'll have a Kaima Shlema. Each person will be whole, and each whole person will then see how we're all brothers and come together. It's going to be like a natural thing. You don't have to die. You don't have to have that miracle. There'll be that miracle too. You don't have to have it. Be the superhero now without having to die. Just let health be, okay, so it'll be subtle. So see things with eyes that are sensitive enough to see the superhero in you now before you have sun blazing out of your eyeballs. Okay, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't matter. That's all superficial. If people take just out of that and like, I want to have a video game experience of, it's so silly. Try and understand what I'm saying, people. So he was seeing the future as if it was, okay? Is that what's happening there? The Malbim asks us. But we're going to see that no, it was a different experience. But they're meant to resonate one with other. I'm suggesting an idea why. That the Frierdiker is telling us that that's the message. Don't die. Be alive now. Caravelt, heint. I know I'm whispering because I'm losing my voice. Okay, that means I should be drinking a little bit of water here. Risk losing my page. And my crowd. My precious crowd who listens to me rant. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to give me this honor of this pulpit, whatever it is. I don't care. I'm reaching people. I don't care how. So he's now darshaning the words. He took out with the spirit of Hashem, which fell upon him and left him within the valley. So it could be he's going to have an astral projection into a valley. It could be, I don't know. For who? Because that's what we're saying. We don't know if it's a mashal or not. Because an astral projection, in my opinion, is a type of allegory. And I explained why in one video. Okay, I had a first-hand experience 22 years ago. Not something that's happening now yet. The HaYom Leia at Samles, and this valley was full of bones. These are the ones who denied regarding the Kates, because they said the time is now. And it says that they denied that there will be the resurrection of the dead. So they felt we better do things now, but the time wasn't right. So there is an inappropriateness about what I'm saying. That person, that chassid that I wrote about, he has an idea. Okay, there's secrets of the Torah for thousands of years, and that's the idea here, I think. But the Frierdiker Rebbe's times, he was saying, and the Rebbe's quoting it, so it still resonates. Something the Rebbe wanted to live with every year. Once a year, we have to think about these ideas of gathering the dry bones of the people around us, inspiring, being a public speaker, or whatever that means in your world. So these people denied the case of Mason, which typically would mean that they did not merit. Okay, truthfully, they were not worthy to be resurrected. They were made a point of, and actually they died, if I understand correctly, because they're going to be resurrected again. I think I have one of the sources, I think it's Rashi. The Kvar Yispar b'divrei Elokim ki nishar b'tzameis hameis koste dechayuso. There remains in the bones of the dead a speck of vitality. In the DNA, maybe? I don't know. Oy havala de garme, or the breath of the bones, yase keser be'isa, which is made like the yeast of a dough, which I don't know what yeast looks like. Se'er be'isa, you look it up. I don't know what I don't even know what yeast looks like. Okay, I can't recall what yeast looks like. I know what dough looks like. Here it says the yeast of dough, bisman hatchia, in the time of the resurrection. That's what the bones are going to become. A primordial soup, literally. And from this petri dish is going to be established or formed, Yivana, built rather, the body anew. The sages say that in the future the righteous even are going to become dust and earth. Because according to the laws, what's accepted, when Yechezkel was told, he had a tradition, the way it's going to be that people have to return to the earth, to the dust of the earth, upon the earth. And their whole body is completely decomposed. There has to be complete bittul. That's what the Rebbe is teaching us. This is the Malbim, but that's what Rebbe teaches in another place. Ve'az yitzmach, mit yitzmach, min ha'afar, and then from the dust will sprout forth. Tzamach, tzamach, tzamach. The Rebbe said that will bring Mashiach to say that, those words. Tzamach, tzamach, tzamach. I named my son Tzamach, my last one. My Ben Zekunim. My child in my old age is Tzemach. I was born on the Tzemach Tzedek, Menachem Mendel's birthday. Menachem Mendel's Gematria Tzemach Tzedek, I think. Kfar, and it's the same as Mashiach, I don't know. Kechol davar she'eder kaidim lavoya. Like every matter, the heder, I think that means decomposition, precedes creation. Okay, this is the classic spiritual idea of the eradication of ego in order to be reborn. That's like a universal idea. It's cliche even. Now he uses the term egg, which totally resonates with DNA, okay, and the whole reproductive process. And then there's going to be the Ephraach, which means the fledgling, like a hatchling coming out of the egg after the decomposition of the eggshell, or I guess when you peck through it. Blaise the be'abetza, b'achita achar blaise hagroin ba'afar, and like the wheat shaft after the seed, it decomposes in the earth. That's when you have the wheat, the bread that we eat, that we relate to, that we rest, that things that resonate with us. The bread of the Torah, when the Torah comes inside us, like bread, when we actually are honest enough to use our language to understand God, and not fear what other people are telling you, what gives you a right to understand God. You can only understand my way, God my way. No, every person's vision is vital to the whole process. That's what Mashiach is. Hashem can take each person by the hand in your language, in a language that resonates with you, and schlep you out and show you that He is your healer. He's going to create your whole body. But you don't have to go to the primordial soup to do it. That's what HaYom Yom is teaching us, in my opinion. There's one bone called the lose bone. With, in combination with the earth, which could mean humility, right? It's going to sprout forth from the lose bone. Habalui binyan chadash, the afar habalui, the soup, the primordial soup, from which a new structure is going to be created. So some people say that this is a metaphor for gathering the exiles. Mashal kibbutz hagaluyos. If you want to say this is a mashal, it's not going to. It means that everyone is going to have unity, and we're all going to be gathered to the throne of the civilization in the Holy Land in Jerusalem, in Zion. So there's two differences. One, they were still bones. In the Ezekiel's vision, thank you, the bones were still whole. They did not become earth. And when they're enlivened, the first body is going to be brought back to life. It's impossible that this can be, that it's going to be returned to the first body. From the first body. It's impossible. It has to become a primordial soup and mix with earth. How is this possible? That it could come about. That's not the normal way. This is an exception to the rule. This is what we have to do. Not have to be totally disintegrated in our very fabric of our bones. That is a spiritual thing. We can fulfill that spiritually. Just like I say, the flip side is when, God forbid, someone lacking something, at least try and draw spiritually on that, because everyone has that shlemus. Everyone is an Adam. So that's the first condition, is that the bones still existed. The second, these were very dry bones, meaning they were lacking something still. The Havala, they were lacking the spirit of life and the breath of life. The Garmir, the Kusta, the Chayusa. that's in bones, in the ray or the shred or the speck of life that exists within dead bones. Hanitzarech, they're very dry, they were lacking the marrow of whatever, the DNA, whatever that's encoded in. Their DNA mechanism was ruined, I don't know, dried out. Which is required for the petri dish of the leavening within the dough. The primordial soup in the petri dish, okay? In two respects, it was different. They were existing bones, they didn't mix with earth, and they were lacking life, they were dry. Somehow when they mix with the earth, they get new life. That's the Tal Torah. The dew of the Torah that's coming out now, I'm telling you. Tap into it, find someone whose words resonate with you and live with his words. It could be me. Why not? That'll be fun for me to have you join me on this journey. I would love that, but it could be anybody. Okay, goes on. Maybe that's enough for that point. I have some other things highlighted that I want to share with you. Okay, I said it was said that. Some other things might just pop out at me. I'll remember from the Malbim that I was learning. And here's the Malbim, another Malbim later on. It speaks about the whole context because it relates this. It's beautiful with the difference. And maybe it's getting late now. Let's turn on. My car fell asleep. Okay, I don't know how to turn it on. Oh, here's the time. 9:35. Not too bad. Very good for me. It compares this later on. You look in Yechezkel there. I'm going to post the sources later. It goes on to say, Kibbutz Galuyas, remember we said it's a mashal for that, it's an allegory for that? It speaks about that later in Yechezkel itself. It speaks about how the kingdom, there's going to be two Mashiachs, Ben Yosef and Mashiach Ben David. There's two kingdoms. One comes from Yosef's Ephraim. It's these people who pushed the gates. They wanted the time now. They wanted to experience the glory of having the king of their Shevet ruling. They wanted that now. They were kafrim and some things. Okay, I had problems. But they represent something, okay? The desire. Even when it's inappropriate, there should be the desire, but let it be for those people and let us learn from their mistakes and not be inappropriate because now is the time. Okay, the Rebbe said, not me. I wouldn't dare say that now's the time. The secrets of the Torah, now's the time. And is there a forum to say anything now? I think there is. Maybe you have to make private groups where people can talk about, I don't know, Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson has a shir about romance in the Torah. If you want to say that it should be private, you can do that privately. Make a adult-only shir or whatever. Shtuyot like that, okay? Because anyone who's drawn to it, because I think we're talking at a level here that only a very mature 14-year-old could even understand this, I think. So maybe he needs to hear it. That's why I think now's the time. They didn't have teenagers like they do nowadays. They didn't have that. He has to have the tools to be able to overcome it. He needs it. So it's all here, I'm telling you. Let me just see if so he's talking about, here's another Malbim, okay? I'm really liking the Malbim. It's a nicely fine computer set in my book. Yeah, I can read it. But it's beautiful. Chatchilim like Mashiach ben Yosef. I'll cool him first. There's going to be Mashiach ben Yosef. He's going to rule over everybody. He's probably from Shevet Ephraim. He quotes a verse talking about the tree of the staff of Yehuda. Okay, they're going to take turns ruling. First is going to be Shevet Yehuda Mashiach ben Yosef, not Yehuda, Yosef. Then there's going to be Be'eshim like. He's quoting the verses here. They're not going to be divided again. He quotes this verse and he says, "Ki bein be'eshim like Mashiach ben Yosef yimshach Yehuda achar Ephraim." Yehuda will follow Ephraim and then take the rule. Ubein achakach shim like ben David. Then there's going to be the rule. There's going to be an intermission between the two. It says between those two times. Why would there be an intermission? Yimshku kulam achar beis David. And that's why it says twice the word Eid in 37:22 in Yechezkel. It says at the end of the verse there. And okay, I don't see the other instance just now. Okay, so that's Yechezkel. Those are the sources. Okay, and now something else beautiful because it speaks about Shekhinah here, okay? My favorite topic. Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit Oh, this is awesome. I quoted some source here on my source sheet I'm gonna put up. It says, I'm going to cause you to be multitudinous, like grow in numbers, and I'm gonna make my sanctuary within you. This leads me to the sources here that I've never heard this topic before. It's mind-blowing. Who are there? It says in Yirmiyah, Sarbu Harisim Ba'aretz B'yamim Ha'hema V'lo Eid Aaron Bris. They're not going to talk more about the Ark of the Covenant. Why? Bris Hashem, the covenant of Hashem, Chulu, the Yemahu Yikru Yerushalayim Kisei Hashem. They're going to call Yerushalayim here the throne of God, Ki B'Rabbis Yisrael B'Ribu Mefleges, because there's going to be so many Jews, Tiyeh Shechina Al Yisrael, amongst the multitudes of the Jewish people. They were going to be the Shechina upon the Jewish people. What in the world do those words mean? It's a drash on Yirmiyah. You will not need the sanctity, they will not need the sanctity of the Aron, the Holy Ark, and the Mikdash. Maybe that's what it means when it says Yerushalayim. It doesn't say Tzion, or it doesn't say the Mikdash. It says in that verse, Yikru Yerushalayim Kisei Hashem. You're going to call Yerushalayim. Maybe that's how I derive it from. I don't know. V'hinei kedushas hamikdash shemitzar sheshem shknasa mitzamsim es atzim b'teik nekudas mitzumsam b'nei shtei body ha'arein, and the sanctity of the holy temple that God carves our mitzayer.